Thanks indeed for staying with us. The program is still this morning on ITV. You saw that, can I call it show of shame? Or can I call it some free for all? You can use any name to describe it here at the Green Chambers of the House of Representatives. It wasn't a good one here. For or against electronic transmission of results? That's the big question. You know, whenever we vote, there is this big type of analysis where people sit down and you wait, and whatever it is, somebody will have to come. Sometimes you need to travel through some dangerous parts, carry all the papers in your hand, get to the collating center from where you will now present your material. Then that one will carry it again to the next center. And everyone is asking, can't we just transfer electronically? That's the question. Can't we transfer electronically? Can't we just do everything and ensure we're doing it? But somehow there was this talk of some lawmakers for or against. The lawmakers from the opposition PDP, we are very much on it. While those from the APC say, hey guy, wait a little here, they brought some reason. But somehow democracy being a function of the majority, we saw that, and there was so much cry, so much lamentation here about the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. We're looking at the controversy, the passage, and the consequences, if any, here. We have been joined by NLB Country Director, Action Aid Nigeria, and the convener, Civil Society Situation Room. You're welcome, man.
Thank you very much.
Welcome very much.
For having me.
I would have sent my condolence. She was coming here before Barrister Esther Zoma had been here, but we hope she's resting very, very peacefully now after her passage and a time with us when we all share common mortality.
Yeah.
Let's look at this now.
Yeah.
Let me get your take generally, how you followed it and how you analyze the situation that played out at both chambers.
I think for us, the show of shame started from the Senate. Okay. We watched them, in their... It's such a shame. Both houses, you are looking at the quality of the people. You are looking at, in each of the houses, we have so many lawyers. And you wonder why somebody will go against the Constitution. Because what they did is unconstitutional. Okay. It's against the Constitution of Nigeria. And so you are now going back to, you are going to INEC, you want to reduce the power of INEC, you want to give the power of INEC to another commission. And maybe they are not looking at the times, what INEC has done, or somebody has an agenda somewhere, because in 2018, INEC and the commission, and that's, the Communications Commission and the telephone, the telecommunication operatives, they had a meeting in 2018, and they said what INEC is doing is possible. And so when you look at, if you even step back to 1993, the Abiola election that Abiola won, why did we think that, Abiola won that election? The transmission was manual, but the collation was consistent. And so it was the final result that they were going to announce. The way INEC carried it out, you could feel it. A lot of people were in Area 10, where you had the INEC, the commission's secretariat at the time, and everybody felt the pulse, and that is almost 20 years down the line. And now, where INEC, they have been trying to see what they can do to improve the elections of Nigeria. Everything is gone tech now. Even the listing of political parties, their nomination and everything is done electronically. If you go to section 78 of the Constitution, it gives them the power that INEC is the one in charge of organizing the election, of supervising the election, of directing the election, and doing what is necessary. And so where are we going to? We have to understand that the parliament itself is a creation of the Constitution of Nigeria. And so the same parliament created you, and what it is stated very clearly that you cannot do something that is in conflict with the Constitution. The parliament itself cannot now promulgate a law that is in conflict with the Constitution. They are reducing the power of INEC and giving the power to who?
But what they are saying is that they are guiding INEC by virtue of the Electoral Act Amendment, guiding INEC to ensure efficiency in the conduct of election.
If they are guiding INEC, even the bill that we are talking about, if you go to section 46B of that particular bill, it gives clearly that accreditation of voters should be done electronically, should be transmitted electronically. So why are you not transmitting the result electronically? So what is their problem? And so I'm happy that the squabbles are there. If it was passed silently, without the show of shame, without people actually being guided, or without people fighting, there are some Nigerians there that believe in electronic voting. There are a number of Nigerians, and we really salute them. You know, it seems that they are not in tandem with the people, with the population of Nigeria. We have a lot of problems in Nigeria. You are not looking at it. You are looking at issues of poverty. More than 100 million Nigerians are living below the poverty line. And all of these things, is a merry-go-round. It's expensive. All this is coming in with a lot of responsibilities. And so I think we really need to look at ourselves. It's unfortunate, you know, that the quality of the Nigerians that we saw there, you know, we saw a lot of people who must have gone home that day with a lot of pains in their hearts because they know the truth. They know what should be done. Yet majority carried the day.
But are you not? Let's take the argument clause by clause. Ali Ndume said his people are. He followed Ali Ndume's argument that people are in IDP camps.
Yes.
That they are suffering. That most of the telecommunication facilities and masts have been destroyed by the Boko Haram insurgent where he hails from. So it will be very unfair for him to support electronic voting when he knows that it cannot guarantee his people free transmission of their results.
You see, if elections could be transmitted the way it was in 1993, what INEC is using now is a combination. The IDP camps we work in IDP camps. We work in a lot of all these environments, and we transmit money electronically to those in IDP camps. We do cash transfer, you know, and some cash transfer, you know, but you transmit. We also use the mobile phones to transfer money to the IDP, you know, the whole people. So why are we not quarreling with the other side that says accreditation can be done, you know, electronically, you know, can be transmitted electronically? And then you say you cannot. And that is why we are saying INEC has the powers to supervise, to direct, to conduct, to organize. So it depends on the situation, what they find as a situation on ground. If you are transmitting, if you are going on live, I mean, if you are going into transmission of conducting even the election itself, you look at the situations on ground. There are still places that elections may not be able to be conducted. And so what our suspicion for them is that they want to cook numbers. You know, we are accusing them that they want to cook numbers, and that is why they don't want to allow electronic transmission. If not, you allow, give INEC the powers. We are not saying go and transmit, you know, put everything on electronic transmission. It's not possible. There are still some waterways, there are still some places where transmission may not be possible, but Nigeria has to graduate. We are talking of the time where people are now flying to space. Commercially flying to space, technology advancement. We say we want digital economy. Are you saying that the people in the local environment will not go into the digital economy? We are going to, you know, even on actionable grounds, we have been able to go into the communities and do some, you know, electronic devices that they now can freely even engage in meetings at New York. The high-level meeting, advocacy meeting we had, the last one we had in meeting, people in villages are able to link up. And so advancement in technology is something that we cannot go back on advancement.
But still on Ali Ndume, Senator Ndume's argument, those videos trended, and we even had copies in independent television here. So were covered for ITV. That if they allow electronic voting system, that he used an analogy to hush puppy, that will be hijacked and results will be given to people who did not win. So you are guarding against it being hijacked by some fraudsters.
I think a lot of, you know, people also argued that you have your money in the banks. You have, whether it's dollar account or pounds account or whatever, euro account, whatever you are having, that people have not hacked it. And so you can't trust it to INEC. Why don't you give them the trust and let things happen and they learn from it? What happened to the past? The card reader, there were problems of the card reader, and INEC was able to fashion a way through the incidents form, You know, so why are we not? Is he the only senator that we're talking about? Is he the only one in Borno today? We are not even talking about, you know, the issue of the politicization of the conflict that is going on. In all of the local government, in all the states that there is conflict, there are local governments. Money goes to the local government. What is the accountability system that is entrusted there? Money is not even getting to the people. So the leakage you are trying to close on transparency and accountability, why don't you close it in other things that you can see? You don't even want to try. How did you get into the election, you know, to your own place? Because if we come from the villages, all of us, the Senator Ndume that is talking about, I am sure that he has camera, you know, CCTV in his environment and all of that. We need to connect ourselves. You know, we need to connect ourselves to our villages. What are you doing to improve that aspect? If it's because they are in IDP camps, there has been a device for IDP camps to vote. And so what is happening in your own village now? Each of the senators are giving constituency money. What are you doing to graduate the people? In fact, during this, you know, the lockdown, there were some things that we did. Radios were bought for children who, because the COVID-19 created a dichotomy between the rich, so wide dichotomy between the rich and the poor. And so if you are looking at what happened at the time, we were able to get radios, you know, for the children, many girls, you know, that were working on breaking barriers, you know, we got them radios. And in the family, everybody, in the evening, the girls will listen to the radio. So we are trying to break the distance between those who have and those who don't have. And so in terms of electronic transmission, a lot of things can be done. So he should go back to his environment, work with INEC to see how can there be electronic transmission here. If there is no electronic transmission, between now and 2023, what are you doing for your people to engage them? Technology has gone to many villages. What are you doing? What are you using your constituency money, you know, development funds for? And so it means you want to have the brilliant environment around you. You don't want them to get, even those in agriculture now are going high tech.
But even some of the arguments some people also raise is the fact that should we want to go electronically, that it's manually transmission of result, it still boils down to the morality of the returning officer. That should the returning officer wants to be immoral, he can transmit a wrong result that will be faulty. You can go and argue that in court, even if it's manual. So we shouldn't bother too much about electronic for our transmission of result. You agree with that?
We will bother so much about it. Because when you are looking at manual, morality, of course, is in question. You are seeing what is happening in the House now. There is the issue of morality. Because the voting cannot be moral, you know, it's a moral question here. That you have to vote, you know, and say you don't want electronic transmission. But the clause that we're even arguing says electronic transmission. But where there is any, you know, any issue, INEC should be given powers. I think that's what we were looking at. Correct. INEC should be given powers. We are not saying just what things should be done electronically. It has to be a mixed method for those who are not able to achieve it. But there will be a graduation, and INEC has promised that they will continue to try, you know, the methods to graduate gradually, moving from one area to the other. And so we should not close the fact that there will be other aspects. And it's a continuous process. You watch the American election. Because of electronic transmission, gradually you are seeing who is winning and what is going on. You know, and even media houses are giving projection. Media houses were giving,
and they were very affirmed that at this point, Donald John Trump, you are.
Exactly. And so in every election, the media is in focus. The media houses are announcing what is happening from the different collation centers. You can see it glaringly.
In our case, we're not allowed to do so because I watched it and discovered at a certain point, Sky News, the CNN, and others will say, at this point, with what is going now, if we pick up Michigan and pick up Texas,
we close the case.
Good that President Biden is going. But should he lose these two states, which are battleground states, to the Republican, we're sure that Donald John Trump is taking. They could tell you everything, and at a certain point here, even the media could declare somebody the winner. They declare you the winner.
They did.
That as far as I'm concerned here, the president, you won. And maybe the
CNN projected
and even congratulated and declared somebody a winner within what they have seen.
This is what we are talking about. That in order to improve the status quo, everybody needs to be empowered. Media is the fourth realm. And when you are looking at activities that are happening, everybody, why do you go on election observation? You go on election observation to ensure transparency and accountability. And so the transparency, this is what is being covered from us now. That if you are not given that power, and then giving powers to, if the coalition that we are talking about, the media, in 1993, the media did a lot of work. And so they were closing in the last elections that we're talking about. If you look at what they're releasing, even with the American election, you see them releasing the North, the South, you know, trying to make sure that they are able to cover up and all. What do we owe to Nigerians? I think that the parliament, they need to ask themselves, what do we owe to the people that elected us? Some of them will say, you didn't elect us. What did you do? As long as you're sitting on that seat, however you got on that seat, you are responsible, and you need to take responsibility as a Nigerian to be able to contribute your quota. How many years? We have a parliament today. How many years are they going to last there? No matter what, a lot of them have gone to, as a safe haven, into the parliament themselves. They have, you know, you have governors who served for 8 years, looted their treasury, and they are in the National Assembly. So we are not, I think maybe we are expecting too much from them. And so it's a shame. But I'm happy that in every place, when we are even talking of corruption, in every community you see have some salient people there. And we are looking at them. We are hoping that the next election, the big next election, even the Anambra election, we should be able to have test runs of what is happening. You know, those that they are nominating now, they're transmitting it electronically. It's uploaded on the list of the politicians or the party officials or the party nominations. They are uploaded. And so what are we doing at this point is to empower the people, empower the media, empower citizens for collation. I think this is what we call on Nigerians. The quality of the Nigerian itself. The quality of them that you know, like the Guardian will say, he said, conscience is a wound.
That's true.
You know, conscience is a wound in your heart. You know the truth. When you are doing anything, you know what is true and what is not true. And so where are we going with what we are doing? We need to, what kind of, all the politicians that we see in the House or in the Senate now, what kind of ancestor would they want to be? Because all of us, me and you that are sitting here today, we are going to be people's ancestors. How do you want them to refer to you? Because the world is not ours. You are going to continue your journey. We are all going 6 feet under. But at the end of the day, because those who are even looting and accommodating, building how many houses that you cannot live in, the houses the children don't even want it, so you are distorting by not investing in the human capital. And I think the investment in the human capital is what we need to look at again. If the cluster of people that we have cannot represent us the way they should represent us, but we are calling them because it's an issue of duty bearers and the right holders. They are the duty bearers and they need to represent us the way we...
But now that you are calling them, they've already passed it.
They have passed it, they are going into conference. We'll go to court. There are so many things that we are planning for them because we cannot sit by. We, the people, will defend the Constitution of Nigeria. The parliament should be the first...
You are going to court to ask the court to declare ultra-vires and null and void.
Some of the civil society organizations, they are in court already. But we are waiting for what will happen, because we saw what happened in the first place. When the committee, there was a House committee, there was a Senate committee that brought this bill into bear, that has passed it. But at the time of passing, what happened? Nigerians will get to know what really happened. How did they manage to smuggle that aspect? How did they, the section 52 clause 3, how did he go to 52.3? How did it get reduced or adjusted and all of that? On what tied it? How did it happen? Because that was not what was agreed. What was agreed was electronic transmission and also giving INEC powers to be able to transmit, to be able to use their discretion where they find it. But what we are saying here is, even if INEC is going to use its powers, it will be transparent and accountable. There will be transparency and accountability. Every stage will be explained. Every step will also be accounted for. So why are they afraid with the body that is charged by the Constitution to deliver?
Okay, now when we look at electronic transmission of result now, the question is, we're not talking about the new electoral monster that evolved some 5-6 years ago, the issue of vote by, vote selling.
again, that comes back to the morality question, the issues of corruption. Nigeria is bedeviled by corruption right now, but we still have some people that are not corrupt. If you remember very well, even in the transmission of the 2019 election, you will see those who will be speaking with water in their mouth. You'll be seeing them. But those who are talking and really confident of what they are presenting, you will also know. And, posterity will be there to judge them. But whether you can cancel completely vote buying is the quality of the human beings. It depends on the buyer and the seller. Who are those? And that's why we need a lot of, civic education. Civic education at one point was removed from the curriculum in schools. And so this is something where you bring on the other agencies, National Orientation Agency, and one of the things, I believe in the National Orientation Agency, but are they equipped to do the job? National Orientation Agency has 7, representatives in all the local governments of the Federation. They have political scientists at those levels, and when they are in powers, they will carry out the civic education. What the Nigerian government wants you to know, you will know. What they don't want the citizens to also know, well, it's another. But on the civil society side, ours is to educate citizens to make sure that they do not sell their votes, that they stay where they vote, and ensure that they announce the result of the election right there and then. And that is when they vote. That's why the voting can easily be transmitted.
I know with the high poverty index, this can work.
The high poverty,
you sound very enlightened, you sound very traveled, you sound very read. But the women who have known that even from the 1970s, that all the elections, they get bags of salt, they get nice wrapper, they form themselves into electoral cooperative where people come and greet them and drop small drink, drop crate of mineral, drop small money and drop wrappers and salt. They've been doing this from the 70s, the NPN and others. So now you want to change that, and these ladies they know that election night is the night that this money move. We would have had that before, that on election night people don't sleep.
Well, I can say that I have worked in different parts of Nigeria. Good. And in different parts of Africa.
And on election night they don't sleep.
I taught democracy and governance.
Good.
At the community level.
Fine.
Looking at fundamental human rights.
Through all of this deeply.
Looking at fundamental human rights, looking at democratic participation, teaching that at the grassroots level in different parts of the country.
Good.
And I found that, after passing through that community education, nobody from that environment will collect something from somebody and vote for them, because they will know that if you give me a bag of rice, when you win the vote, you will take maybe 1 million bags. In money.
You share them in small cups and mudu.
Exactly. And so when you share that, I remember one of the bishops said something before. He said, when they bring it, take it. It's not their money. Because if you are going for election and you are going to serve the people, why are you giving them something? If it's a service that you are going to render, they should even give you water to drink. But you are looking at where you would think Nigerians are to be bought. And that is so cheap. And that will take in, we are going to go on serious community education to let the people know that as you collect from them, you are selling your souls. And I think that's where we need to touch the core. It is true that people are poor, and that is what we are talking about, that the parliament is not worried about the Nigerian people. When the president says, I'm going to move how many million people from, 100 million people from poverty. We were involved in the National Social Investment Program. That's on Action 8 Point now. We were involved in monitoring the National Social Investment Program, and we try to monitor. A lot of people that you find also, some corruption at that level, that those who need the money, if people say 5,000 cannot change lives, it is not reaching the people. There are, if you go down to the community level, that 5,000 can change lives, 10,000 can change lives, but not other people. Where you find, those who are going on the agro and the teach and all of that, you find that this project is directed at very young people. People who are doing their youth service and all that, who have just done their youth service and so on. But you also find politicians bringing in names of people who are 70 years old, and you have to pay, whether you like it or not. Those are some of the findings that we got from the field. And so the poverty in Nigeria is real. We have the rich, the dichotomy between the rich and the poor getting wider. You have the rich you have people who are now buying streets. Not even one house anymore. They are buying streets. But we have millions of Nigerians. Young Nigerians, they cannot get job. I'm sure if I ask you now, you have how many graduates around you that do not have jobs? Nigeria is not investing in the young people, and if you are not investing, when you invest in the human capital, you are developing your own capital, your human resources for the development of your economy. How can you have millions of Nigerians, and now we churn out, from the NYC camp, you churn out more millions, and where are you releasing them into the society? Is that not a veritable ground for social ills? For so many things. I am telling you, Nigerians never commit suicide before. But you are hearing the history now. Because the dignity of the human in Nigeria is so dealt with. And so they need to worry themselves about that. The fact that they are building, fabrications around themselves, they are building burglary proof around themselves to protect themselves from other people. You can't protect yourself from people who are hungry.
Even if we do all of this now,
yes,
and we have the electoral process being worked on here. There's a school of thought that said most times, most of the things done in the Electoral Act or the electoral process put in place by INEC oftentimes don't work as beautiful as they appear. From the Situation Room, would you agree with the school of thought? That even the ones given before, even the card reader did not work that way, even the tram did not also work that way.
No system, at the beginning is perfect.
Okay.
You have to work to perfect it. And so the trial, that's why the Situation Room is there. The organization, a lot of other organizations are joining. We are over 70 organizations right now, and we have people at the state level to give us report. That's why the Situation Room is there, to carry out, voices of the people, what is happening. When we find something happening at a particular place, we let INEC know, go there, this thing is happening, this is what you need to do. And they react very quickly. And so this is very, very transparent, is something that we need to do. The system is not perfect. INEC is not claiming perfection, but we can try. As a Nigerian, whatever you are doing, when you started from the beginning, you cannot say you are perfect. But we need to work on the quality of the humans, the quality of Nigerians. That as a Nigerian, for the parliament, for example, they took a pledge. I pledge to Nigeria, my country. What are you doing about it? And so the moral question is there. You said you will defend Nigeria to be faithful, loyal, and honest. And we are working in an environment where, the greatest investment of a nation, I can tell you, is education. For any country, is education. What is Nigeria investing in education now? Now you have so many public, private universities all over the place. I graduated from, I attended Unijust and I attended Unilag. These are great universities. What are you doing to them, for them? And you find out that the schools that are beautiful, the unity schools and all of that produce the great men and all of the people that we have today, nobody is paying attention to them. The scholarships that those who are in parliament today, majority of them got scholarship from Nigeria, not only to study in Nigeria.
They went to rampage when they had half chicken.
When they have had chicken.
When now there isn't even a chicken wings.
No,
they had half chicken and they went to the street that they cannot take half chicken. It's an injustice. They went on the street shot.
Exactly.
And now
at that time, in a public university, they had laundry, free laundry being done for them. You just put your clothes on your bed. There was bed for you. There was everything. What system left that? It's like the system the colonial masters left. Seems to be better than what they are doing. And if you cannot leave the stage better than you met it, you are a total failure. And so the struggle, I want to encourage those who struggled, why they fight. The fight was because there is somebody on one side and there is someone on another. There are other people on another side.
The one that
and
had the analog transmission and the one that had the electronic transmission.
Exactly. And so when you have a lot of that is going on for Nigerians, what we call on is that we need electronic transmission, but we also need that mixed method. But it has to be mixed.
Some had said that the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, if you don't play too much on the transmission process, it's a beautiful passage, document for passage. Just that there is extreme overemphasis on the issue of transmission via electronic voting, electronic system.
What will it hurt? What will it hurt for them to leave it with the position that was earlier submitted?
No, they said the whole package is beautiful.
The package
is too much emphasis on one particular area of electronic transmission. That if you read through the book,
it's beautiful.
You're going to love it. But now, the civil society groups like yourself, the rights group like the other ones, the opposition parties are taking the emphasis out of the beautiful lady to just some not too beautiful fingernails.
You can wear a beautiful, brilliant white cloth. Just put an oil. What does it do to it?
Everyone ask you a question. What's wrong? What happens?
It messes it up.
Correct.
It finishes it. And so that little clause. Why would you put a clause to say that that INEC should go and look at, should now go and take permission from NCC? Of what right? That's unconstitutional. It has to do with, so that is something is not acceptable. And that's why we have to be careful when laws are being passed. You have to look at them line by line. Somebody can hide a clause that will condemn everything that you have. And so I think we need we are watching them to go into conferencing, and when they do that, whatever we are,
they're almost done. The next thing is that you can't watch them again. The bill will go to the president for assent.
No, it will not. They have to go into conference.
After conferencing? After
conferencing, we'll see what comes out. And we wonder what kind of president will sign such. Because the social media, well, and that's why we are shocked by the ban on Twitter. You know, that social media, he was very, very active on social media before he came in. It was more or less the things that were trending before he came on board. He has banned it, and for Twitter, for example, there is a lot that you have to earn, even as a country from Twitter. I think they have an opportunity to be able to negotiate with them so that Twitter can pay tax, tax to the Nigerian government because of the volume of people. When you have about 30 million or almost 40 million of your active population engaging in, so you take advantage of it. What has Nigeria is a shrinking space for the civil society. Are you saying that we brought you on board, that you are more important than the Nigerian people? I'm just wondering what kind of that's not the Buhari that that we thought.
Well, Buhari will tell you that he's not involved. That Alhaji Lai Mohammed is the one doing the conversation here.
So he must take responsibility.
But Alhaji Lai Mohammed says he's the one in charge. That he is the information minister.
He cannot be
culture minister, and he's the one talking.
He cannot be in charge. The president must take responsibility.
Okay, but quickly before I'll be letting you go now, there's too much of political drama coming out of Anambra State. What's your take for the situation where a party conducts primary, somebody will lose, the person goes to court gives an order for INEC to abandon the other man who largely wins, put the other one name, and there's so much of name removal, name problem here.
I think again we come to the morality question, and I was joking with a friend the other day, and he says, in Anambra State, some people, even before the primaries, people get court injunction and put in their pocket before they they start the process of election. It's very sad what is going on there. It's very, very sad. But we have to watch with transparency and accountability. We have to, everybody that is at that point must be accountable to the Nigerian people. And you soil your hand if you do wrong pronouncement. The judiciary is also another angle. We have problem in the judiciary. We have to come on board. The same judiciary we are talking about. There are so many cases, even those who are in the parliament today, more than 300 cases against them. They are not going to court. Nobody is prosecuting anybody. We have to call on that particular ministry the judiciary,
arm of government,
that arm of government to become active. The quality of the Nigerian is very, very high.
Some have said that we should limit how judiciary gets involved in electoral matter and let the people decide, and not when most times court decide, even when the people vote. When we know popular vote as against judicial pronouncement, most times people are saying judiciary should not be pronouncing winners of election.
The winners of election, when you are looking at who won the election, and that is why we say allow electronic transfer of voting. With that, the vote count will be in the public gear, and everybody will have a say. But we are not leaving it to them alone. Citizens have to be held accountable. The people we work with are in different locations, in different communities. We are saying, you can't take somebody from Lagos to go to Sokoto to go and monitor elections. No, they monitor on ground where they are, to be able to look at what this transmission is all about, or what the votes are all about. But when you are going into, the issue of morality in Anambra State, we are watching it keenly. Situation room is going to be part of it. Whatever is happening there, we are going to engage INEC. We're engaging INEC, we engage the population, we are going, the road to November is quite high. And that's why we're worried about this particular law, the bill that is coming into place. And so that we can test run it in Anambra State. But the way we are going now, conferencing is going to be dragged, and they want to drag issues. So the old status, will stand. It becomes, if it's a court, we have watched it before with the Imo, earlier election with Imo, somebody who is not even standing election, you are declaring them and so on and so forth. I think Nigerians need to take responsibility. Like I said before, you who is declaring that, I hope you will be a proud ancestor of your own people for what you, because when you are sitting here now, you are sitting on behalf of all those from your village. Integrity should be something that should be earned. And a lot of people don't have integrity today. That
depends on how stable and how intact our conscience
there's a lot of sanity.
How our conscience still
insanity is in, yeah.
We are hoping for that. We thank you very much for coming. Country Director, Action Aid Nigeria, convener, Civil Society Situation Room. So much
have been talked
about Electoral Act Amendment Bill, the controversies, the passage, and the consequences. You've talked about that. Well, let's hope that we'll be getting the best of our electoral process.
We're watching them.
Let's hope we'll vote and our votes will count. Let's hope that we those of you who are watching as well, you want to get the best of vote. Don't sell your vote. It's not about the politicians. If they know you are going to sell, they got enough money to buy, and they are going to come and they are going to buy and buy it. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, we thank you very much. Wish you all the best.
Pleasure.
And still, our deepest condolences still keep going on.
Thank you
like
so
a
much.
rippling sea wave over the long time passage of Barrister Esther.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll take a break very quickly. When we return from the break, this morning on ITV, we'll continue.